Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We start off with story coming in from the national capital. According to the data from the National Air Quality Index by Central Pollution Control Board, Delhi's air quality has deteriorated to the very poor category this morning from satisfactory that was reported over the weekend. In fact, to give you a context, air quality index from 0 to 50 is good. Anything above 301 falls in the very poor category. Now, on Tuesday, it was 396, and on Saturday, it was 57. Delhi faces severe issues in low air quality index every winters. In fact, measures such as production, storage, sale, and use of firecrackers in the capital till the 1st of January 2023 have already been taken. But this is a story that repeats every year. In fact, stubble burning in neighboring states is a major problem that adds to the increasing air pollution in Delhi. In fact, lower temperatures, wind speeds, and other factors also add to the problem. Trigger warning for people who are watching right now. The next story is extremely disturbing. A Dalit minor girl has passed away yesterday in Uttar Pradesh's Pilibhit district. Now, this comes days after two men allegedly gang raped her and set her ablaze. According to the police, two men named Rajveer and Tarachand raped the girl, poured oil on her, and then set her ablaze with the intent to kill her. Both of them have been arrested. Cases have been filed under sections of the IPC pertaining to rape, attempt to murder, trespassing, and criminal intimidation, and POCSO. Also, news coming in from Noida, where 4 construction workers died and 8 were injured after a boundary wall of a residential society collapsed. 12 workers were pulled out of the rubble. According to a report by PTI, Noida Authority Chief Executive Officer Ritu Maheshwari has said, and I quote, "The boundary wall was also constructed by the society itself and looked weak. The work on the drain outside the society was being carried out on its request by a Noida Authority contractor through a tender," end quote. Now, the Gautam Buddha Nagar police have said that they've arrested a subcontractor. Meanwhile, in Chhattisgarh, 2 people were killed and 3 others were injured after lightning struck them in Surajpur district. Now, the deceased died on the spot when they were taking shelter at a shop below a tree due to rains. 3 others, including the shop owner, suffered injuries and they were shifted to a local hospital for treatment. Moving on now, according to a report by Live Law, the Supreme Court has sought the centre's response on a plea alleging shortage of HIV drugs in India. The National AIDS Control Organization is a central government agency that provides medicines, diagnostic kits, and training to treat HIV patients. The virus, if untreated, causes acquired immunodeficiency syndrome or AIDS. Now, the petition filed by the Network for People Living with AIDS, HIV/AIDS, alleges that the procurement of the antiretroviral drugs for 2021-22 that was due in August 2021 was issued in December. The center failed to procure the drugs according to this petition even in December, and a new bid to procure the drugs had to be issued in March by the authorities. A bench of Justices D.Y. Chandrachud and Hema Kohli issued notice to the Union Health Ministry, National AIDS Control Organization, and others on September 12th to file their response within 2 weeks. Also in the news, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur has called for neutrality in news and said that loud debates on television may get attention but not credibility. While addressing an event organized by the Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Development in Malaysia, he said, and I quote, "If you decide to invite guests who are polarizing, who spread false narratives, and who shout at the top of their lungs, the credibility of your channel goes down. Your decisions regarding the guests, the tone and visuals define your credibility in the eyes of the audience," end quote. He added that mainstream media organizations face a great challenge to provide truthful, accurate, and reliable news while preserving media ethics and values. Moving on to politics right now, Union Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has said that he will look into the allegations that Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann was deplaned from a Delhi-bound flight at the Frankfurt airport as he was allegedly drunk. Now, Mr. Scindia said, and I quote, "We will have to make sure that we verify the facts. It is up to Lufthansa Airline to provide the data," end quote. Now, Congress leader Pratap Singh Bajwa has sought an inquiry into this matter. AAP, however, has refuted the allegations. Mr. Mann returned from his 8-day trip from Germany on Monday, where he had gone to attract investments. Yesterday, Punjab Chief Minister announced that he would take a floor test on the 22nd of September. Moving on to business news right now. According to the Telegraph, the West Bengal government has given Gautam Adani a contract to build a deep sea port at Tajpur in Purba Mednipur district at an investment of 25,000 crore rupees. Now, after the construction, Tajpur would be Bengal's only greenfield port in half a century since the Haldia Dock complex was set up in the 1960s. At a summit that was held this year in April in West Bengal, Adani Group had announced that it will invest 10,000 crore rupees in the state over a decade to develop port infrastructure, data centers, undersea cables, centers of excellence in digital innovation, among others. Also, according to several reports, SpiceJet has said that it will put certain pilots on leave without pay for 3 months as a temporary measure to rationalize cost. Now, the airline has been facing a liquidity crunch and has said that the measure is in line with its policy to not retrench any employee. However, the airline said that the services won't be hit. It's important to note that it's currently operating less than 50% flights following the July 27th order of the DGCA in the wake of a spate of incidents with SpiceJet. Now, according to Business Standard, the company in a statement has said, and I quote, "The airline had continued with its planned pilot induction program, the hope that the MAX would be back in service soon. However, the prolonged grounding of the MAX fleet resulted in a large number of excess pilots at SpiceJet," end quote. Moving on to environment news right now, starting off with the state of Karnataka, where 2 weeks after massive floods were reported in Bengaluru, Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has ordered an inquiry into encroachments on lakes and storm water drains in Bengaluru. Earlier, the Karnataka High Court had come down very heavily on the civic body of Bengaluru BBMP for this particular issue and said that this had resulted in flooding in the city. Now, the Karnataka Chief Minister has said that a team comprising a judicial officer and 2 technical experts will conduct the inquiry. He also announced that a special task force will be formed to ensure that stormwater drains are constructed in accordance to government norms. Earlier, the government also said that 600 crore rupees has been approved for the development of the state capital, including 300 crore rupees for remodeling stormwater drains. Also, Karnataka Revenue Minister R. Ashok had told the Karnataka Assembly that over 42 lakes have disappeared in Bengaluru since 1963. He, however, has blamed the previous Congress government for this. On to news coming in from across the globe right now. A major earthquake that killed 2 people in Mexico on Monday also damaged more than 200 buildings and injured 10 people. 2 people have now been killed, according to officials. The magnitude 7.6 quake struck in western Mexico. The earthquake is also coming at a time when the it's said that it is cursed anniversary for Mexico because there were 2 previous quakes that left the country reeling in 1985 and 2017 on the same day. 2 earthquakes of magnitudes 8.0 and 7.1 had struck Mexico in 1985 on the same day, which is September 20th, and in 2017 on the same day, which is September 20th as well, in the past. And the National Autonomous University of Mexico, however, has said that there is no scientific explanation for this and for the three major earthquakes to have taken place on the same day, and attributed it to pure coincidence. Also in the news, rescue workers in Japan have warned of mudslides and flooding after one of the biggest storms in recent decades battered the country. It's called Typhoon Nanmadol, which killed at least 4 people and injured more than 100 others after making landfall on September 18th. In fact, it damaged a wall of the Space Center on Tuesday and disrupted power supply to 1.30 lakh homes over the last 3 days. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, the Islamabad High Court has directed the authorities to drop terrorism charges against former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. Now, the former Prime Minister was booked under the country's Anti-Terrorism Act for threatening a female judge and senior police officials last month. In fact, in a speech, Khan had threatened to file cases against police officials and a female judge over the treatment meted out to his aide, Shehbaz Gill. Moving on now, the Indian High Commission in Colombo has said that India will support Sri Lanka in all possible ways in order to ensure its recovery and growth. Now, India was responding to a report by Reuters which said that India would not provide any more financial support to the island country over and above what's already been given this year, which is $4 billion. Now, the economic meltdown led the country to default over $51 billion foreign debt in April. It's facing its worst ever economic crisis. The High Commission, in response, Indian High Commission has said, and I quote, "We continue to be supportive of Sri Lanka in all possible ways, in particular by promoting long-term investments from India in key economic sectors in Sri Lanka. In addition, our bilateral development cooperation projects in Sri Lanka, which cumulatively total about $3.5 billion, are ongoing," end quote. And we leave you with one piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. Indian author and poet Meena Kandasamy has won the Hermann Kessen Prize of the German chapter of the PEN, International Writers Association. Now, she will be awarded the prize on the 15th of November at a ceremony in Germany. Now, the prize is given to individuals for their outstanding efforts in support of persecuted writers. Her notable works include Miss Militancy, The Gypsy Goddess, among others. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.